Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the wonderful last session of the day where we are showing off Carmageddon Max Damage. And we have Nobby from Stainless here with us, and we have George from Sold Out, who's going to be driving the game for us. And of course, we've got Lee. Hi, Lee.
He's a pro.
All right, hello.
How's everyone? Everyone good? A little bit tired? Yeah, know the feeling.
But before
big
we
energy.
get going, my mic needs to be on. Is it on?
Are all the mics on, chaps?
Who remembers the original Carmageddon? Everyone's a bit young here. They probably don't.
No, probably not.
I do.
Do you remember
Yeah,
it?
that's all I played.
All right. So Carmageddon, I'll do it and you can step in and tell me if I'm saying anything wrong.
I will.
Carmageddon it's a racing game, but it's not like a normal racing game. The idea is to destroy and kill and maim and kind of cause as much chaos along the way as you can. Is that a fair description of the game?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
We've always called it the antidote to racing games.
There you go.
And racing is positively discouraged.
Okay. So I've also got a terrible confession to make that I'm not sure I've told my boss, Dan, who sat next to me.
Oh, here we go.
I went to preview this game a couple of months ago, pretty much completely ignorant of Carmageddon, other than it existed and it was controversial, right? And for like the first 10 minutes, I was doing perfect racing line around the track, avoiding getting out of the way of everybody until George was nice enough to say, that's not how you play it, mate. So how do you play it? Let us know. Talk us through it.
So effectively what you're encouraged to do is score points by mowing down pedestrians. That's one way to do it. Of course, you've also got the other opponents in the game, and the other chief way of getting on in the game is to smash them up. Smash up the opponents, kill the pedestrians, and do the laps if you really have to. But if you do, we won't be very happy.
All right, so is it 3 or 4 different ways that you can complete each
Yeah, so
race?
there's effectively, we've got a bunch of different events in the latest game, which is how it basically differs from the original Carmageddon. In the original game, every event was the same. You'd get, basically, you'd wreck the opponents, or you'd kill all the pedestrians, which is quite a feat, because there can be like 900 of them in a level. Or you can complete the laps, and it's entirely up to you how you actually do, achieve the aim. So that was how the original played. In the new game, we've got 6 different event types, some of which are actually kind of racing. So we've got a death race event. We've got Classic Karma, where you do it how you did it in the original game. We've got Death Race, in which you basically are racing, but these races have to have a Carmageddon twist. So basically, once everyone's got at least one lap, you can then wreck an opponent and steal their lap. So you're still not encouraged to actually race, but basically win by nefarious means and kill the opponents.
All right, so I've been in this section of the map. Tell us all about this.
Yeah, well, this is again, this is set up. Basically, the original game had pretty much this level with this power up in this position, the PED Electro Bastard Ray. And you've got the football team there on the pitch, you've got the cheerleaders, and it just gives you an opportunity early on in the game to rack up the points by frying the whole team and the cheerleaders as well. It's a nice introduction to the way that we like you to play.
Talk me through the pedestrians. There's a lot of different types of pedestrians. You can run over nuns.
Yeah, we thought we wanted to mix it up.
Right?
Yeah, cows and nuns are kind of classics that or we'll go back to the original. Obviously, this time around, we've decided to expand things a bit and involve more of the community in the game. So you've got mobility scooters, cyclists, people in wheelchairs. So it means that everybody's got an opportunity to be a victim in Carmageddon. And
yeah, you don't get any more points for running over a nun than you do
it's
just
all
an average
completely
pedestrian.
democratic. Right? No, it's an equal opportunities slaughterfest. You get as much points for any of these kind of members of society.
So we've talked a little bit about the fact that Carmageddon is the latest version of a series that's existed for a long time now.
Yeah.
And we've just said that you can run over people in wheelchairs and nuns and all sorts, and like everyone's kind of not bothered. It wasn't like that back in the day, was it?
No, and funnily enough, there's still an element of it not being all right today, and I'll talk about that in a minute.
Okay.
But obviously things have moved on now, but when the game was first released, SCI, who published the game originally, decided to get it an 18 rating from the BBFC, the British Board of Film Censors, and they went for that, and it got refused. So we asked why, and they said, well, we'd like you to come to a meeting. So that's a temporary rapture. So effectively we had to go to this meeting at the BBFC where they'd set up a PC and they had one of their younger staff playing the game, and he was driving around and he was running over people and he was pissing himself laughing whilst he was doing it. And the head of the BBFC, who we were having the meeting with, was saying, you see, this is the reason we can't give this an 18 certificate. You cannot be encouraged and enjoy running over innocent people. And that was their position. And it was at that point, also in the meeting, I noticed that my flies were completely undone. And I thought that he was probably thinking that I was also insulting, deciding to go in there with my flies down. So we had to change the game. We had to put zombies in instead of people, and that allowed us to release the game.
It was changed back later, right?
The decision of the BBFC was overturned on appeal.
Right. Okay.
So we got to release a blood patch with all the original content.
Was there a bit of tabloid scaremongering going around? Did the controversy help establish the game? I imagine it did.
Well, it can never, it can't do anything but help, can it? There's no such thing as bad publicity. But it wasn't something that we expected, because we'd been making a game that was making us laugh. That was what it was all about. It was about just stupid cartoon humor, and it still is. We just do stuff that makes us piss ourselves, and we hope that it's going to have the same effect on everybody else. And for the most part, it does. But it's always the case you're going to rub some people up the wrong way.
So when you started making this one, were you tempted to just push it a little bit further?
There's not really anywhere that we want to go which is going to push it into nasty for the sake of it. And recent times there have been a few games that have come along that it feels like that's what they want to do.
Yeah.
They just want to be a sort of serial killing simulation or whatever. But this isn't our aim. Our aim is to just make people laugh when they're playing, and also have bloody good fun. I've been testing the game now for a couple of years. We've had a playable game for like 3 years, and I still just thoroughly enjoy playing it.
Cool. All right, so George has got almost 50 minutes left on the clock.
Yeah, right. He's doing all right here.
Yeah, that's those footballers that got fried earlier.
Yeah. Do you think it's easier to get away with stuff now than it was back when this came out? It's more stringent.
There's no doubt it's easier because of the way that all of media has changed, hasn't it? It's become more acceptable to push the limits.
So I guess that makes your marketing a little less tricky.
Yeah, we haven't had to worry about the fact that we're going to be doing anything that's beyond the pale.
So one of the ways that you can win a race, right? You got to correct me if I'm wrong, is by killing every single pedestrian on the map.
Yeah.
And on this one, for example, there are 780.
Yeah.
Firstly, I want to know if George has ever actually done that.
Not on this map.
No? All right. Have you? That's a lot of people. And they're not all in plain view, are they? They're tucked away.
No. The thing that it's best to do is to wait until you've progressed quite a way through career, and at that point you get a car called Electric Blue, which has got permanent electro bastard ray. So at that point you've got the equipment to actually start going around and mopping up all the pedestrians. It's still tricky because the AI are going to be after you, and they're basically driving around, smashing each other up, smashing you up, and they're getting damaged. So after a certain amount of time, you'll find that you've still got 70 peds to kill, and there's only one opponent, and he's a smoking wreck, kind of jiggling around the track, and you're hoping he's not going to actually get hit by a cop or something.
Well done, George. Well done.
Good work, mate.
Stylish.
Nice.
Right, so we've got loads of different cars, and there's an in-game currency. Explain all that stuff to us, please.
Okay, so the currency is effectively there to progress you through the career game, and that's 16 chapters with 3 or 4 events per chapter, and you're basically working your way through the career, unlocking chapters by using the credits, and then as you go, you start to pick up tokens, which you can then use to improve your cars, to improve their armor, power, and offensive capabilities. So you've got these slots that you can fill, a maximum of 12 slots out of the 15 that you can then fill and improve your cars, the capabilities against the opposition. And then the other thing that happens while you're progressing through career is that cars that are opponents become steel-worthy, as we say, and you can basically wreck that car in the next event, and that'll be added to your garage. So that's how you then build up your garage of cars.
This mode, I'm not sure. Perimeter patrol, how does it work?
No, that's actually just
that's the arena.
That's
I'm
the
an
name
idiot.
of the arena. Yeah. So this is another classic Karma event. So again, this is played in the win in either of the 3 ways way, and this is a level that is one of the brand new levels. So it's not based on one of the original Carmageddon levels, as some of them are. And this is on an island, which has been the subject of some weird we've got this corporation called MCM, which runs through the whole game, and the idea is that all these power-up barrels that are dotted around are all chemical waste that's been just dropped there by MCM. They're an inept corporation who mean well, but continually fuck everything up completely.
Okay.
So this place is a kind of mess of seismic activity that's kind of ripped up all the ground, and old experimental buildings that have just been left, and lots of MCM executives and workers wandering around without much to do except get in the way of your car.
One of the things I really enjoyed about it when I saw it before were the silly puns. There's a lot of silly puns in this game, and they're particularly kind of British silly puns.
Yes.
As well.
That's kind of been my
For
job.
example, so this isn't in game, but how many? I think if you pre-ordered, you get 4 skins.
Yes.
With it for the cars.
2 cars.
Right.
4 skins.
4 skins. All right, that's interesting. So that's the kind of pun
that's
work
the sort
that
of
we're doing here.
cerebral level of.
I like it though. It's good. Have you got like a bloke in the office, and that's just his job, or is this you?
That's me.
Is it you? Amazing.
For 20 years, that's been my job. They just bring me out and
You're
sit
living
me
the
down
dream.
and say, "Could you write a pun, please?" And then I go away again into my box.
We've got the laptop, so we've got loads of comments in the Twitch chat. Will Prattcam make a return?
Do you know, we've got Prattcam footage for Diana, the female character, because it was actually somebody that I worked with who was going to be our Diana. So we got that far with it, and we had somebody lined up to do the max damage. The Prattcam is basically we had a camera in the corner of the screen, which was a camera on the driver reacting to what's happening in the car. What happened was that as we went on with development and we got the actual drivers in the cars, it didn't sit right, and it was taking up valuable screen space. So we did some testing, and it just seemed superfluous now. It was in the original game, as I say. The character of Max was Mad Tony, a friend of ours, who I also got to run over while we were doing the research for the game.
Oh wow!
Yes.
Wait! You can't just go faster. You ran over your friend for research.
There were only 8 of us, Stainless, when we started, and so 8 of us made the original game. So we had to do all our own stunt work, and well, we didn't do all our own stunt work. We got our friend in to do the stunt work, Mad Tony, who was kind of just a mechanic friend of ours who fixed our cars and kept us on the road and stuff. So we repaid him by persuading him that it would be great if he would. We obviously got him all padded up. He shoved some cardboard up his jumper and down his trousers, and we went out into a big truck car park next to where the office was at the time, and in Patrick, the programmer who set up Stainless with me, so obviously I'm the artist and he's the programmer, he was driving a big old American station wagon at the time, and so we rigged up a video camera in it, and then we ran Tony over in the car park lots of times, and he kept telling us to go faster. He was, because he felt that he could actually
Tony's not with us
he was
anymore.
planning to do a roll right over the car. We were videoing it from all sorts of angles, so he wanted to get it as dramatic as possible. And so we did this final drive at him at what seemed too fast, and he leapt onto the bonnet, rolled, and straight through the windscreen. Straight
God.
at us.
I guess you can't get away with that now, right?
No, and of course the guys at the windscreen place, when Patrick drove up there a little later to ask them to replace the windscreen, they were.
Wow.
Oh wow!
I think he said he'd hit a moose or something on the Isle of Wight.
What else you got?
We got a comment from chat. Is there a user level creator, leaderboards, etc., that kind of thing?
Leaderboards, yes.
Yeah. What about a level creator?
Oh, well, now, level creator-wise, we've, again, relatively small team has been working on this game, and we always wanted the game to be moddable. So it is. We've got a section in the main menu called Carmageddon, which is where modded material can be dropped in. So we can't integrate it into the main career game, but it's got its own section in the game, and you can drop in custom-built cars and levels and whatnot. And we've got some really dedicated community members who've actually developed tools for basically converting models to go into the game, whether it's levels or cars. So it's been the hard work of some of the guys. We've got Trent and Errol, great stuff, great work, guys. And they've been serving us well.
Yeah, sounds like it, right?
I like Ozan's question. I know the answer's no, but I like it anyway. Can you blow up buildings?
We do blow up a lot of stuff, or we have done in the past. Yes. We once we had a farm. The company, after we'd done the first 2 games, we moved the company out to a farm out in the wilds of the Isle of Wight, and we had fields, barns, all sorts of outbuildings. So we'd have impromptu airsofting, which is the BB gun, shooting each other, running around shooting each other with guns. And we did try blowing various things up. We'd shoot aerosol cans with air rifles, with fire around them, and watch the explosions and film it all. And we've also blown up quite a few cars in one of the fields as well.
It sounds like you had a lot of good research. There was running people over, blowing stuff up.
We've been fortunate to have a bit of space at times. Yeah.
So you've been in the games industry for decades, right? I mean, how's it changed, and do you enjoy it now as much as you used to?
Well, it's changed a lot, and my role within the company's changed because I now am more involved with the community and publishing side of things, and development goes on, and I'm lucky enough to be able to sort of cherry pick areas that are of particular interest, like the design of the cars and all the stupid puns that I get involved in. And of course, the number of people it takes now to do something like this has expanded hugely from 8 of us making the original game, when I was, as well as designing the game along with Patrick and the other guys, I was actually modeling full time. I wouldn't know where to start now to build one of these cars. I have to do a crappy drawing on a piece of paper and give it to one of our artists, or a few of our artists who will then collaborate to make one of these things. So it's obviously the scale of everything has got much greater in terms of the manpower required to make games. But I think that's effectively the main thing that's changed. And of course, it's also in recent years become once again a fantastic landscape for developers of all shapes and sizes to have the opportunity to get their stuff out there. Now with mobile gaming and the fact that Unity's come along, for instance, and has really made it possible again for a guy or 2 guys in their pants in a bedroom to actually make a game, which is brilliant.
Do you think it's kind of come full circle in some ways?
Yeah, it has, from that point of view. I mean, as I say, Patrick and I started just the 2 of us.
In your pants, in your bedroom?
In our separate
Together.
bedrooms. Yes. Both married, in different houses. But yes, in our pants in the bedroom.
So, over the years, you've got a question, haven't you?
Go on.
So, over the years, how many years ago was it the first Carmageddon came out?
It was 96.
96.
Yes,
okay.
it was 20 years ago.
Okay, so you didn't always own Carmageddon. It's only relatively recently that you've got that back, right?
Exactly. I mean, because originally the game we pitched what was a banger racing game, a destruction derby game.
That was the original idea.
That was the original idea, because Patrick was banger racing, roped me into doing some as well, and he had this idea for translating the sort of kinetic excitement of real impacts into a game where cars would properly deform. Ouch. So you get real-time deformation of cars. That was what he was really interested in, and from that we made a little demo with a few cars going around an oval track.
So it started off as a banger racing game, trying to recreate that kind of impact,
This one's
that
not working
power.
now, is it?
He's going to sort you out. Because the guy that you were working with is a banger racer, right?
Exactly.
And it kind of evolved from there. I'm fascinated by the process that goes from that to running over nuns.
Yes. Well, basically what happened then was that SCI, a publisher, a small English publisher, saw the game, saw our demo tape, and decided that it was a good fit for them because they were trying to get the Death Race 2020, I think it was called, Comet license. And so they were seeing it as, this comic had come from Death Race 2000,
course,
the
yeah.
70s Roger Corman film, which effectively is Carmageddon. That's
Right.
that's where it comes from. So they were trying to get that. They didn't get the license, but they effectively stuck with the idea, the overarching idea. They also tried to get Mad Max as well around the same time. So either of those would have been a good fit for the kind of game.
Right.
But we were left with a game we were already working on, which effectively had points for pedestrians, and but no license. So it was right. Okay, well we'll just give it our own name. So I came up with Carmageddon. Patrick hated the name.
Oh really?
Absolutely hated it.
Do you remember any of the
So it was touch and go
alternatives?
whether it would have been called that.
Oh, it's a while ago
No,
now.
I
fair
don't
enough.
think. I don't think I ever allowed there to be any other. I was absolutely
You were
convinced.
dead set.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Do you think that turned out to be a positive in the end? That it became its own thing as opposed to...
Yes, I think as far as I'm concerned, I mean, it's because, it's our little mark on the history of games,
Right.
So and now that we actually have managed to get hold of the IP and own it ourselves, after all these years, obviously we want to now just continue to build the brand and continue to make Carmageddons forever and ever.
I don't think we've said when it's coming out, yeah? Have we? And what it's coming out on. We should do that. What's your release date? What's your platform?
So obviously what we've already got is Carmageddon Reincarnation out on Steam, on PC, and on the 8th of July it'll be launching. Carmageddon Max Damage will launch on Xbox One and PS4, and it's effectively the continued development of the game that was Carmageddon Reincarnation with a lot more content. I'd say it's got to be 40% more content than the game that's currently on Steam.
Okay.
All the levels have been very heavily breathed on and improved, and then we've got more levels. We've got the desert levels. We've got 2 more desert-based arenas and a big sprawling desert level. There's more cars and there's more variety of heads. So we've increased the amount of content, and we've continued to refine the game. The game, we know, when released as its final release on Steam, was for an awful lot of players. And this is unfortunately just like back in when we launched the original game, which was always quite taxing on hardware. So Reincarnation turned out to be quite taxing on a lot of people's hardware as well, and didn't run as well as we would have liked.
Right.
We've had the time with the funding that we got for doing the console versions to really optimize the game, and obviously all this optimization will then eventually go into an updated version of the game on Steam, which will be Max Damage. Carmageddon Max Damage on Steam. That will happen at a point after the console game has been out for some time.
It's running better than it was even a month or 2 ago that I came to it.
Absolutely. There have been some really major games in the very last stages of development that have, we had to get it to that point where it wasn't going to be a pisser for people who just didn't have top-notch hardware, and obviously for players on console for whom there is only one piece of hardware, and you really want your game to run well on that.
So has the game got multiplayer?
Sorry?
Multiplayer, is
multiplayer?
Yeah,
there's six-player multiplayer.
So
it's got all the same game modes. The one thing that multiplayer lacks is PEDs.
Okay.
Possibly in the future it may be patched to include them, but it was just that we had so many issues with the game desyncing due to the huge amount of physics work that's going on in the game with the highly sophisticated crushing code that causes the cars to deform in real time, and all the parts that they're made of that allows them to be completely destroyed. We just could never get it to run stably with the PEDs, and because it's actually so much fun, and your focus is always on your opponents when you're playing the multiplayer game. You're playing with mates, or you're playing with other real people. You're really concentrating on them, and actually after a while you don't even notice that the pedestrians aren't there.
Is there an achievement for killing every pedestrian in every arena?
Yes.
Wow,
Yes.
That's going to be tough.
Wow, really?
That's going to be tough, right?
That's I can't remember the name of the terrible memory. Can't remember the name of the achievement, but it'll be the achievement for completing the career mode 100%.
Okay.
Because to do that, you've got to win all of the classic Karma events in all 3 ways.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Blimey. All right, that's tough.
That's one for the real completionist. I haven't actually done it yet, and I've played the career game through dozens and dozens of times while testing it.
Jeez. That's out of my reach, I feel. Maybe you can go for that one.
Well, no, I was just going to, soon as we got the cars up on the screen now, can you talk a little bit more about the different cars that you can get in and stuff like that? And who you race against?
My vision for Carmageddon cars has always been that they look like they've been built specifically for these events, you know, and in most cases built by kind of car manufacturers, so they've got quite a slick look to them. They're not kind of bolted together Mad Max sort of, you know, cobbled and welded willy-nilly. They're actually quite pristine, you know, and carefully constructed. There's obviously a wide variety. You've got, you know, sports type fast cars that you can use in the events like Checkpoint Stampede, where you've got to be the one that gets to the checkpoint first, and then you've got the heavyweights that, you know, you use for basically smashing the shit out of the opposition. We got tracked vehicles, which came very late on in development, and we weren't even sure we were going to manage to get in there, which was going to be unfortunate because it was one of the first concept illustrations we had done and plastered over everything when we first started working on it. That was what was called King Merc, but for copyright reasons had to be changed to Blitzkrieger, which is a large tracked car that may look a little bit like a Mercedes.
Do you have a legal team that? Well, I know you do, but do you spend a lot of time with the legal team going through what you can do and what you can't?
Far more now than we did originally. Yes. You have to be so careful now, because everything is out there. You know, it's so much more visible. You know, back in '96 there was barely an internet, so you didn't kind of worry quite so much about calling things, you know, something that sounded a lot like a real manufacturer's name or whatever.
All right, so this is the big desert map you were talking about.
This is the town of Ill Eagle. It's so called because I just wanted to get a level in there called Illegal Aliens.
So it just still makes me chuckle when you hit somebody with a walk of fame. I don't know why. It says something very bad about me as a person, but I just laugh every single time.
And you know that she says, "I was in the war," just before you run over.
Bless her little heart.
Is there any stuff that you kind of concepted that you thought, no, we've gone too far with that, let's dial it back?
We've never had children in the game, babies, children. Although, even that, I think in this day and age,
I don't know, babies, mate.
well,
children are fair game, babies no, right?
At what age?
But, so we did draw the line there way back when we, you know, did the original game, and we've seen no reason to change that policy since. It does seem to be like, you know, a fair place to stop. Not so bad if they're zombies.
So zombie babies are alright.
Any undead, doesn't matter what age.
I'm thinking DLC.
Are you going to do any DLC for this?
We haven't officially announced anything.
You can do it now, though. It's fine.
There's hundreds of people watching on Twitch.
No, I get people to tell me off.
We won't tell them.
But obviously, it lends itself to it. What we're expecting is a massive console success, which will then allow us to continue to add to and, you know, develop the game. We've always thought of it as a game that we'd like to have just go on and on, you know? And so if we can, we probably will.
I'm interested to know, it's not the same kind of game, I know that, but hear me out. If you've been watching the success of Rocket League, because I think that there's something about the soul of the game that's not entirely dissimilar. And what I mean by that is it's just a fun thing to pick up and go in and go crazy.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about whether you're winning or not, because you're just having fun along the way.
Absolutely.
And with the multiplayer as well, you've got room to kind of play around with it.
Yeah.
Like when you're talking about DLC, are you talking about single player stuff or multiplayer stuff?
Both. I mean, again, effectively, it would be great to be able to, you know, expand on what we have, get more modes in there. I mean, we've got, as I say, we've got 6 modes in single player and 5 in multiplayer because you don't have ped chase. But in the future, it would be just great to be able to add more game modes, you know, more event types. And just continue adding to the content.
Cool. And there's the UFO.
Hey.
buried head first.
So in terms of like game development wise, it seems like now compared to like 96, it's completely different, right? You can change stuff on the fly now, you can issue patches and stuff that you didn't have people to have to go and download from another website and install. But I mean, that must make it easier to kind of develop on the fly as well. So you get criticism, you get feedback, and you can respond to that, right?
Yeah, well, that's a good point. And of course, that's something that has happened a lot through the process of developing Reincarnation, with the community basically feeding back to us comments about the car handling, the actual event types, telling us exploits they'd found in multiplayer that were really making the game a pain. Things like the number of power-ups, offensive power-ups you get in a barrel, so that it was the case that you get 3 of them in every barrel, and there was no limit, or the limit was like 9 or something that you could really build up a load of opponent repulsificators and then just drive around and annihilate everybody in multiplayer. And these were things that we hadn't seen, we hadn't really noted while we'd been testing the game, but came back to us very strongly from the community, and so we made changes based on that feedback, and that's brilliant because you've got a whole community, a whole fan base of people out there really letting you know ways in which you can improve your game.
Ozan's got about 8,000 questions in chat. Shall we rattle through some of them?
Go on, yeah.
Are there any hover cars?
No,
Okay.
There aren't at the moment. But again, that's thinking to the future. That's not something that we couldn't do. It's
Or futuristic ones or historical ones?
futuristic ones. Yes. Well, we have got Project X, which is quite futuristic. It's a sort of skidoo kind of thing with 2 tracks at the front, 1 at the back, and it is futuristic looking, but it is another tracked vehicle in the game. Historic, no. Say there's a sort of slight National Lampoonsy vacation look about the station wagon in the game, which isn't entirely unintentional.
Is that how you looked at some of the cars? Like, did you take inspiration from like the car at Bullet, for example? Or did you look, or was it just like you want your own slate of cars? Or did you take like nods from Mad Max and things like that? Like, you want a Mad Max car and you want a Bullet car.
Yeah, it's more been the case that I think the cars have come out of wanting to have a car of a certain type, like a sort of sporty Japanese coupe, like a Subaru type car, or liking Porsches, or liking Mercedes and Volkswagens, and just the nice thing about being an indie developer is that it's up. We just dictate what we want ourselves, and so whatever we fancy, we can actually do. And I'm fortunate enough that it's been me who's been mainly responsible for designing the livery, the stable of cars that we've actually got, and long may that continue.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, scroll up a bit. I want to see Ozan's other one.
Now let's go to Croesus' question first. Do offensive weapons, i.e. spikes on the vehicles, cause any extra damage, or are they just there for aesthetics?
Yes, those spikes on Cleaver's wheels there will really fuck up the opposition's bodywork and tyres and wheels. They rip the wheels and tyres off the other cars really effectively, and for instance, the screw kind of thing on the front of the car called the Twister, which is a big kind of monster truck thing with this revolving screw at the front, looks like a sort of mole machine. That will actually sort of flip pedestrians and twist accessories off into the air. One of the really funny ones is a car called the Bear, which has got a series of scythes on the front of it, a set of scythes arranged in a circular arrangement, which spins, and as that hits pedestrians, it flings them like miles away, and just kind of chopping them in half as it does so. That is extremely entertaining to play with. It's actually my current favourite car.
It sounds like you had a lot of fun with the development then, just going madness and crazy.
This is exactly what it's about. It's, you know, everything about it is about what makes us laugh and and what's fun. It's just a playground. That's what we always wanted it to be, but we've tried to structure it so that it's not just something that you're gonna, it's a playground. Therefore, you play with it for a bit, and then it's kind of okay, well, that's all there is to it. And that was something that was kind of a criticism of the original game. In some quarters, it's just because every event type was the same. You've got the 3 ways to win, and that was it. That's why we've introduced all these new event types to mix it up and to keep it interesting and keep it feeling as if you've got new and fun things to do.
So Seeking in the chat asks, would you ever add motorbikes, but then you'd have to call it Bikeageddon? Or is that the sequel?
What's that, sorry?
Would you ever add motorbikes?
Yes, we will. Again, it's one of the other things that, if it's not in Max Damage, it'll be in the next Carmageddon. We've got bicycles, and we got kind of part way towards kind of getting opponents in motorized bicycles in there, but had not had the time to finish that particular part.
Sorry,
Oops.
Didn't see that coming at all.
Literally. Oh wow.
That actually made me jump.
Right, do you want us? Should we go through the other questions now, like super quick?
Yeah, let's rattle through them.
There's loads of there. Absolutely loads.
Right, I can't. I'm scrolling. I can't
Hold on, I'm just getting to the top, and then.
Right, so these are all the community questions that are coming in over Twitch.
Right.
There's some abuse from Mitch in there. Let's not read them.
Will cars have modifiers?
Say that again, sorry.
Will cars have modifiers?
Have
modifiers?
Oh, modifiers.
Yeah. I guess they're like the special abilities, right?
I guess that's what they've currently got in terms of the sort of specialised weapons that they have. Whether it's say the bear, with its sides, the station wagon that's got its scaffold poles that stick out the front that you can actually skewer pedestrians on. And if you get more than one onto you get a kebabbed bonus if you can get more than one pedestrian skewered on one particular spike. And what will also happen is that the modders will be coming up with more and more stuff as they play with the code that the cars use. So you'll get they're going to give us more extreme and outlandish cars. Hey, you found a smelly bush.
You got plunge in there.
Taking the plunge. Yes, the smelly bushes are one of the hidden collectibles, based on obviously the sort of magic tree. But if you turn a magic tree up the other way, you get a bush.
You can tell it's a British developer, right? That's making this game.
I mean, all of the puns it's a very British kind of humour.
Yeah.
Does it translate well in America?
Probably not.
I mean, like sales-wise, historically, do you do okay in America?
Yeah.
Because it seems just so uniquely British.
Yeah, it is.
The humour, right?
Yeah,
the humour, not the gameplay. Obviously.
But it does seem to travel okay.
Yeah. Okay.
It was. It did well.
All right.
Well, the American had the in-betweeners, so they know what clunge is. So also there's Urban Dictionary. So yeah, I know, right?
It's my fault.
It is your fault.
It's actually his fault. He put it in the bloody game.
Yeah, it's a valid talking point. It's in the video game. All right, I'm scrolling through.
I've got to say, George, you've done very well, mate. You've been.
You have
boss,
been.
right?
You've been.
I like the way that everything you've
like
done wrong as well has been deliberately wrong to show what happens when you do something wrong. That's the sign of a real pro.
Like the train, right?
We do that a lot.
Yeah.
Our streams.
We could really do it first time, every time, but you know what? People don't want to see that.
No,
People want to see you learn.
Well, again, that's very British, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
We celebrate failure. We certainly don't celebrate great success.
Well, I'm going to dance a lot.
George, he was just dancing with Billy.
So Sephiroth in the chat asks, has the achievement and trophy list been compiled completely and sent off to Microsoft? Or are you still figuring out what you're doing with the achievements and trophies?
No, they're all
done.
set. Yeah, they're all done. I mean, the thing is, we've now this last week we passed cert with Sony and
congratulations.
And Microsoft. So that's it. The games are now done and approved by by the rights holders, and so that's it. We're set for launch. So no more changes at this stage.
So in terms of the achievement and trophy list, how have you gone for it? Have you gone for hard? Have you gone for funny, punny? What's your approach been with the achievements and trophies?
Mainly silly.
Okay, we like silly.
Yeah. But no, there's a mixture. You know, we've got the kind of achievements that you'll get just as a matter of course through playing the game, because that you want to have some that aren't too obscure, that people don't have to just go and get by accident, but we'll get just through playing the career game, for instance. And then we've got daft stuff. But please don't ask me what any of them are.
Yeah, I won't put you on the spot that
I will bring up another thing to do with achievements, though, that I personally didn't understand, because we helped design a list with the developer, and it's not limited by your imagination. Putting an achievement in a game, you have to track. It's actually quite a difficult job, isn't it? If you're not tracking how many cows you've killed, then you can't have an achievement for killing 1,000
exactly.
cows.
Yeah, that's right, and that actually prevents you from doing some of the things that would be quite,
or even something simple as
hilarious.
You don't distinguish between a cow and a person. They are just
they're all just pedestrians.
So, exactly. Yeah, I'm sure we do actually. Yes, we do, because we're tracking that, because you get particular bonuses when you're running over a cow, and milked that. And
will there be any funky levels, like on a moon or in a cave? Talk a bit more about the kind of the map design.
In fact, one of the other the multiplayer desert levels is set in Beelzebub's Bottom, which is a cave system. I thought long and hard about that one.
Brilliant.
Yeah, into the small wee hours, I was racking my brains. What can we call the caves in the desert? And we've got the Devil's Tower, which is an arena which takes place on a plateau on top of a tall stone stack. As for going, onto the moon or whatever, well, again, anything's possible in the future. And also, of course, anything's possible by the community, with the PC game and the modding that they can do.
Just going back, actually a long time back, probably 40 minutes ago, George went through some doors into a club, was it? And there was the alley. Are there secret areas like that all over every single map? Is that?
That's it. Yeah, we have these little Easter eggy kind of moments that you'll come across. Where on all of the maps. Again, because it's funny, to have stuff that you might not see the first time you're playing, or even the fifth time you're playing. And in fact, there was stuff that I was spotting that the artists had put into the game that I didn't know anything about. Kind of when I was on my sort of 6th career playthrough. So there's a lot of things in there, and it's again all to just keep you wanting to carry on playing the game.
I'd love to know the process behind Easter eggs. Who thinks up the Easter eggs, and is it part of the actual design process, or is it somebody's got?
That's the thing, that they usually aren't part of the kind of core design process of the game. They're the stuff that when you get the game to a state where you can start to play it, you suddenly will think of a thing that would be cool. Hey, wouldn't it be cool if? And that's what they pretty much all come out of. Hey, wouldn't it be cool if moments that you have during development, and it's the kind of thing that makes the producers that are working on the game go, oh, bloody feature creep. Bloody feature creep.
You might have to refresh that then.
Why?
Because it's not working.
Okay. I'll refresh.
Technical issues. All right, so is there anything we've missed? We've covered loads of ground. We've done the history of the franchise, we've done new features, we've done release dates and platforms and all sorts. Is there anything that we've missed that people absolutely have to know? We nailed it. Have we done the best job possible?
I reckon we've done pretty much everything. Did we talk about the pig?
Did we talk about what?
The pig.
Tell us about the pig.
No, we are probably the only indie, I would imagine, the only indie UK development company that actually owned pigs.
Why did you do that?
Do
And
we want to
again,
know?
This was back in the days of the farm, during the foot and mouth crisis that happened way back, years back. And we were all at work on a Sunday, working to some deadline, and somebody came running in from outside saying, "There's a fucking great pig in the car park." And so we all went outside, and there was this huge, large, white breeding sow that had escaped from a local pig farm and had taken refuge at Stainless Games.
You adopted it?
And we had to, because the foot and mouth crisis, there was a ban on the movement of livestock, and because it had escaped, it had to stay where it would basically had been found. So, so we put it up in a barn from where she escaped for the next, I think, 2 nights, and I had to go on a search for her. And then after she'd been with us for a week or so, people were saying, "It's really cool having a pig, isn't it? Can we keep her?" So I did a deal with the farmer, and we ended up owning a pig. And then
I like the way that you said you're the only UK indie that's ever owned a pig, because
you
can't move the pigs in
exactly.
there.
Yeah, some of the bigger movers and shakers in the industry have probably been doing it, for years.
Well, all right. Good. Can we get a pig for our office?
They are really cool pets.
Yeah.
They're great.
Do you have to go through any kind of
And I can tell you where to tickle a pig to make it roll over.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. And this was fine. Like, they were like, "Yeah, sure, yeah, you can own a pig." It was the 90s, right? Anything went.
Honestly, those were the days.
You're going to say that it was last week. It was a brave story. I'm joking. It was the foot and mouth. I've got that. Right, is there any more comments, questions in the chat?
I don't think you can read that one.
No, I
from
can't
Starscream
read that one out.
723.
No, there's yes. Yeah, so it's out first week in July, is it, or second week, or
8th of July. Yep.
Xbox One, PlayStation 4.
PS4.
Excellent.
All right, beautiful.
Right, thank you very much. Can I get a round of applause, please? Thank you. For Nobby, and for George as well. George, you were great, George.
Well
done.
Great work, mate.
But thank you very much, folks. Thank you for everyone in the Twitch chat. Thanks for joining us today. We'll be back tomorrow with some amazing content. We've got an amazing Life is Strange dev session.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, that'd be good. We've got
other things.
Assassin's Creed.
Oh, the voice actor fella.
Yes, the
Paul
voice actor
Ramos.
fella. And we have so much more. So please do come back tomorrow and have a wonderful evening. Thank you very much. Cheers. Thanks.